Let me give you some guidelines as to colors and show you some of the lures that have been the best and why the color was so good. And they're not all going to relate to you. This is a color here. I call it 190 or sand. This is a great lure, and it'll catch bass fairly well. But for redfish in the ocean and for speckled trout, it's dynamite. So we keep that on hand for those people. This lure is to be a crayfish imitation. It's an excellent color. It's not one that most of the chain stores have picked up, but it's one that's one of my favorites when I go fishing, and that's because it imitates a crayfish. Now, there's something you need to understand about crayfish. Crayfish in different parts of the country, in different waters, eating slightly different things and being different species, have different colors. Some crayfish are very dark in color. They would be pretty much similar to this color right here. My color 119 is a great imitation for a crayfish if the crayfish in your area are like that. If you want to know if they're like that, just go out and pick up a couple of rocks in the water that you fish in. Or tie a chicken wing to a piece of string and throw it out there, and in 10 minutes you'll have a couple crayfish on it. Bring them in and take a look at them. In other words, just like fly fishermen, you want to match the hatch. So you're going to try to imitate the things that are fed upon in the waters you fish. And sometimes people call here and they'll give me the name of a lake or a river, and I've never been there, so I can only tell you generally what's the best for you. But if you were really, really serious, and I don't know what's popular in those lakes. If somebody calls me and says, you know, I'm going to Lake Erie and I'm fishing, sure, I know what's just great for you. Or you're going to Lake Mead, or you're going to Lake Powell, or you're going to fish in the Finger Lakes back in New York, or the St. Lawrence Seaway, or you know, I can give you a tip. But if you're asking me about Mud Creek in Arkansas or something, I don't have a clue. So what you need to do is find out what's good in your waters, or what bait is in your waters, and match it to my color chart, and you'll find something close enough. This one, for some reason this works everywhere, but the reason is the additives that are in it. It's the smell and the taste. Sometimes a little gold flake in it will help, and I would say in the middle of the day when it's bright out, that's when something with the gold flake would come in handier. But this clearly is a leach color, and the more you use it in the water, the more the salts come out of it, and the more leachy it looks. So there's a clear reason why a fish would identify with that. Of course, some of these, a bluegill, requires no explanation. If you've got a lot of small bluegill in your waters and you can present this right, they'll key in on that color. And bluegill has been a popular color over the years for us. A white one generally imitates some sort of a minnow or something. You take a chartreuse. Chartreuse is easily seen in water. On the color spectrum, chartreuse reaches a long way. It's excellent if the water's real deep, and it's excellent if the water's muddy. And sometimes it's excellent when the fish are on beds, because more than make them think it's something to eat, it's something that irritates them, and they'll pick it up or they'll attack it and they'll take it off the nest. White is also a very good color in muddy water. Some of the colors that bewilder me sometimes are something like this purple. I had a guy call me once from Nebraska, and he was fishing in the Platte River, and he was buying a tube that was a little bit smaller than this. And I asked him, I said, why are you buying all these purple tubes? And he said, they are catching catfish like you can't believe. There's a tree hanging over the water, and it's got these plums or something on it, and the catfish are going down there and they're eating them. Purple is a good color for a lot of reasons, but that was one that really stuck in my head. This is a color 245. Of course, it's got a little more orange in it and some brown, and that sort of imitates crayfish that's molting a little bit. When they lose their shell and they're down there, their skin is a little more orange and pinkish looking. Another color that needs a little explanation and reasoning is one of the best colors ever made for a tube. This is made by first dipping the tube in chartreuse and then covering it over with smoke to give it this olive look. There is not a species of fish that doesn't like this tube. And my thought behind it is that I think fish key in on this color right from the beginning of their lives, when the fry that's smaller than them is eating plankton, and their bodies are so clear that they can take on this green look. And I think fish kind of understand that when they see a green like this, it takes them back, and oh yes, that's something good to eat. But this lure is for smallmouth bass, largemouth bass. It's we've got some huge muskies caught on these lures. I can't tell you how many people fish these for lake trout, and in some of these larger sizes, and will catch on a weekend trip they might catch 20-25 lake trout, and they'll be anywhere from 10 to 40 pounds. So that's one of the best lures that and the best colors that we have out there. So of all the colors that we've ever had, there's probably only about, for most people, about 5, 6, 7 colors that you really need to have. So if you could call us or look in the catalog and decide for yourself. We carry motor oil. At times this color 103 Smoke with Silver Sparkle has been an outstanding one. I think partially because the fish see mostly in the middle of the day. They see that sparkle there and they kind of miss the gray, and they take it as some sort of a minnow or something that they can't see very well. This is a 104 color. Now this has that a hint of purple on the top with the smoke and silver flake and a white belly. We've had an awful lot of luck with this in waters that have shad in them. It's done very well. In fact, all of them will do well, but some will do much better than others. If you'll match the hatch and use a little reasoning behind what you're going after, how deep you're going to fish, and good luck. There's a lot of great stuff here to choose from.